everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Wumi Ajayi. I want to say a quick thank you to everyone that's given me one form of feedback or another. I want to tell you that it's very encouraging to know that people have been blessed by my video. I do not come here as one that knows it all. I'm also learning, and I'm learning how to improve my marriage and for my husband and I to enjoy our marriage better. So I want to say that if you have been blessed, please do share the videos with other people that you think might benefit from the content. You never know, you might be saving a life, you might be saving a marriage, you might be saving a family. Today I'm going to continue the series I started 2 videos ago on Team We. And today I'll be talking about complementing, not competition. As partners in marriage, we're meant to complement each other. But unfortunately, we might find, married couples competing with each other, just as if they are on opposing teams, constantly trying to outdo each other in life or in career, in making money, in favors with the children, who the children love most, and in many other areas. In competition, what we're trying to do is we're striving to gain or win something by defeating or establishing superiority or supremacy over others. But that's not what marriage is about. As married couples, we are meant to complement each other, to be partners, not opponents to defeat, not someone to establish superiority or supremacy over. There are many reasons why competition can creep into our married relationship. One of it has to do with insecurities, which could be, personal insecurity or just a lack of sense of security in the married relationship. If you don't feel secure, then you feel the need to protect yourself. If you don't feel secure in a relationship, then you might see your partner as someone that you can't trust, as someone that you can't rely on, and you see the relationship as a relationship that you cannot put your whole into, and then you start to compete against your spouse. It could also be as a result of jealousy and envy. A classical example might be, when maybe you're jealous of your spouse because they are making more money or because they're making more progress in their career. Say, for example, a woman that's maybe you've had to take maternity leave and that's kind of held you back because we're looking after the children, which is very common, but it shouldn't be something that leads to envy and jealousy if, as partners in marriage, we deal with the situations properly. Lack of trust, which can also be related to a lack of sense of security in the marriage. So if you don't think that you trust your spouse enough to put your all into the relationship, then the chances are that you will start competing with them to protect yourself. It could also be trust issues with individuals. Some individuals just have trust, they just find it difficult to trust other people. And if you don't trust your spouse enough, then you will not be able to give your life into the relationship. The competition could also be as a result of just natural or imbibed competitiveness. Some people are just competitive. They see everyone as, as a competition to beat. They see every opportunity as an opportunity to compete and defeat and win supremacy. That's where they get their own sense of self-worth from, the fact that they're able to beat other people. But marriage, we can't be like that in marriage because your spouse is not an opposition to beat. There's so many dangers that comes with allowing competition in our marriage. The first one is that it creates division and disunity. I talked about unity and division in my last video. In marriage, you're meant to have one goal, to unite together, to focus on accomplishing your goals as a married couple. Not, it could be individual goals, but those individual goals become part of your united goals that you're working towards. But when you see each other as a competition to beat, you will not be able to work together to achieve a common goal or common goals. Competition also amplifies any trust issues. So if you're already having trust issues in your relationship and then you allow competition to come in, it will all it's going to do is just going to amplify the trust issues that you already have. Because in life, you don't trust your opponent. That's how it is. So if you see your spouse as an opponent to beat, then you cannot trust them. There's also the lack of synergy that can come from competition. I talked about synergy again in my last video. It's when, as couples, we're able to combine our efforts together. But when we see each other as opponents, we can't combine our efforts together. The Bible says two are better than one. But if the two decides to follow separate goals or do things on their own, then we will be wasting effort, we'll be wasting resources because we'll not be able to, synergize. Like any competition in life, competition in marriage can also turn ugly. Where spouses, the way we start to fight dirty and engage in all sorts of lies and secrecy because you don't, because you're competing against them. Of course, you don't want to know how much you're earning. You don't want them to know how much is in your savings, or you don't want them to know what your goals and aspirations are. And then it can lead to all sorts of secrecy, all sorts of lies, all sorts of, keeping things from each other, which does not help marriage. It does not help unity. It can also lead to toxicity and resentment, where a spouse might be happy when the other fails, and they find it hard to rejoice when the other succeed. It can lead to emotional abuse because if you see your spouse as an opponent to beat, of course you want to put them down, you want to belittle them. It can lead to manipulations, it can lead to control, it can lead to, even attempts to sabotage each other's effort. And that's why we should not allow competition at all in our marriage, because it can really, really turn ugly and it can be the end of the marriage if we're not very careful. So, if we see any elements of competition in our marriage, it's important that we deal with it. First of all, we need to find out the root cause. Why? What's the cause of the competition? Is it because somebody had grown up in an environment where civil rivalry thrived, or their parents encouraged them to compete against each other, and so this competitiveness comes into marriage with them? Or is it that someone had been ill advised before marriage, where you've been told, or you can't trust a man with your life, or you can't trust a woman, and so we're encouraged to keep an element of secret, keep a secret money, make sure you make more money, and things like that. And if we're not able to decipher some of the advice that we get given, then these some of the things that can happen in marriage. If you're the spouse that you realize that you're feeling a sense of competitiveness against your spouse, or some of your actions are actually showing that you're competing against them, then we need to be reminding ourselves constantly that we are on the same team. We are not playing on opposing teams. We are partners. We're working towards the same goal. Competition is counterproductive. It's actually like, scoring an own goal in a football match. If you score in your own goal, then you're scoring for the opponent. But as married couples, we should be on the same team. It should be we against the world. It should be we against whatever comes against us as a couple. It's also important that if you notice this in your spouse, if you find out that the actions of your spouse is almost like they are competing against you, it's important to bring it to their attention because they might not be aware of it. We need to sit down together and explore the root cause. Why do they feel, why are they competing? Is it because, if it's money related, is it because this is the spouse that is a lesser earner in the family, and so maybe because of that they feel they don't have equal access to the family money or the resources, and so they feel the need to compete against the spouse to make more money? That's just an example. But if we don't sit down to talk about these things, to actually find out what the root cause of the sense of competitiveness is, then we'll not be able to deal with it. We can also make efforts. We can all make effort as married partners to be more supportive of our spouse, because when we are doing that actively, even if there's any sense of competitiveness, we'll be able to counter that. And there's so many ways that we can be supportive of each other. We can be empathic towards each other, try to understand each other's perspective, make conscious effort to encourage each other, support each other's dreams. If your spouse is they're taking a course, encourage them, they're applying for a higher post of work. Encourage them, find out how they're doing, support them, cheer them on. These are all the ways that we can actively support each other, which will counter any sense of competitiveness or any form of competitiveness that might be going on in our relationship. Healthy competition is encouraged. Hebrews 10:24 actually says, let us consider how we may spur one another on towards love and good deeds. In sport, healthy competition is encouraged because it builds team spirit. When we partake in healthy competition, you as an individual, you want to succeed, but you also want the other person to succeed. So in marriage, it's a win-win. When there's healthy competition, when we spur one another on onto good works, we encourage. I encourage my spouse to succeed. My spouse encourages me to succeed. It's not about superiority. It's not about supremacy. It's actually a positive way to build ourselves up, to build our team, we. So let's talk about complementing. When we complement something, we're actually contributing extra features to someone or to the thing in such a way to improve or emphasize the qualities or their qualities if it's a person. Genesis 2:18 says, the Lord God said, it is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him. If the man does not need a helper, if the man was complete in himself, then God will not have created an helper. And it says an helper, it did not say a competitor. So we are in marriage meant to add or to make each other complete. We are meant to enhance and augment the qualities that we have. None of us is perfect, and none of us has it all. If we actually look at the way men and women are wired, we will see that the differences in the man and woman, in the way our brain works, in our physique, in our hormones, in the natural abilities and things, and different, all the differences in the man and the woman. It's obvious that we're actually created to complement each other. And when we look at different personalities as well, our personalities are meant to complement each other. Basically, we need each other. We are only complete by the qualities that our spouses bring into our lives. And if we don't recognize that, then we will be competing with each other. Marriage is meant to make us better versions of ourselves. None of us has it all, like I said. We need each other. I need my husband to make me perfect, and my husband needs me to make him perfect. That is the way that God has designed it. In marriage, we often find that the areas in which we're weak will be the areas in which our spouses are strong, and the areas in which our spouses are weak will be the areas in which we are strong, which basically tells us that we are meant to complement each other. And I'm not trying to say that people should not work on their weaknesses. That's not what I'm saying. We should all work on our areas of weaknesses. We should not give it as an excuse to say, oh, you're strong in that area, so I don't need to do anything. That's not what I'm saying. But it's important that we recognize where our strength lies, and as couples that we're able to harness our strength and work together as a team. It's important that we adopt roles that fits in with our strength in the relationship, because that is the only way in which we can maximize our strength. And that is what complementarity in marriage is all about, so that together we can achieve more. As married couples, we need to be looking at how we can work more as a team and as partners and complement each other. We should not fall into the trap of letting the society or the culture tell us how to run our marriages. Tell us, oh, this is what a man must do. The man must be the one to do DIY. The woman must be the one to look after children. The woman looks after the house. We should not let the society or culture dictate to us. We should be able to sit down. This is us. This is our team. This is our we. We're not comparing our marriage with any other marriage. We're not letting the society tell us how we want to run our marriage. We are going to look at where our strength lies and decide how we want to run this team, and how we want to make this unit work, and how we can complement each other to achieve more. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop here. I hope you've been blessed. Please remember, like I always say, marriage is to be enjoyed, not to be endured. God bless you.